Hey everybody, and welcome back to Eliza Builds Stuff. So today we're doing something kind of interesting. Probably like a lot of you, were sitting around the other day watching Fixer Upper on HGTV, and I was like, these houses that they build on this show in particular are absolutely gorgeous, and I bet that I can build one in The Sims. So today we are building a house that was on season 3 episode so I think technically it was episode 8, but on Hulu it's episode 9 on 8 of Fixer Upper. And the only reason that I chose this house in particular is because it wasn't too there wasn't anything particularly sort of out there and modern about it, which is a bit difficult to do in The Sims because you're kind of restricted with the shapes and levels and sort of fancy architectural things that you can do. And so this house was they called it like an old schoolhouse with old European charm. And so I was like, all right, that's cool. Also, Joanna did a write up about the building experience that included a floor plan on her Magnolia website. And so that was really, really useful to have some really high quality stills to look at. And so to begin with, I'm building everything. Normally, what I would do is sort of build the entire shell of the house along with the floor plan and then start working on it. But because I was working from references, I sort of did it one wall section area at a time just to get everything done before I moved on. So we've got this really interesting entryway, and on the show, the floor was a sort of it was a black and white marble, but it was a like sort of bullseye rectangular inlay. And so this marble checker pattern is about as close as we're going to get in The Sims. But normally, I mean, if it were up to me, I would not put a marble checkered floor with a sort of green wainscoting in an entryway. I thought it was very weird. But on the show, it turned out gorgeous, and also here, I think it looks pretty good. It's just something that I wouldn't normally be inclined to do. So that's why sometimes it's good to go out of your comfort zone and to look at references and try to copy things for your builds that you see in real life in The Sims, because if you do it just based on instinct, you'll get kind of bogged down with what you think should be there, you know? Um, and the wallpaper originally, so in this house, they did a lot of sort of mixing nice whites and browns with a sort of teal color. And so I'll be changing the columns in the front of the house a lot because they sort of pulled that teal color from the columns into the entryway, as you can see, and then also in the baseboard and the trim of the windows. But I couldn't get that baseboard color with a white wallpaper in The Sims. And so I had first found that one that I had put on earlier, but it turns out that there was a very light sort of floral pattern, and I just wanted a white wall. So I just went with white on white. And then also on the inside, I couldn't get there. You can in the cats and dogs pack. All the windows came with the exact teal color that I was looking for, but you can really only get that on the outside of the house. So I couldn't get it on the inside. On the inside, all of the trimming of the windows is just white, and so I was like, you know what, we'll get it elsewhere. And so we definitely got it with the counters, islands, and cabinets in this kitchen. And this color of cabinet is from, I think, the Vampires pack, which was kind of surprising that you'd have such a sort of fun farmhousey, cottagey color from the Vampires pack. But it was perfect, even with the little sort of pattern around the cabinets. It was very nice. It's supposed to be creepy Victorian, but it just turned out looking farmhousey. And so obviously we've got Joanna's open shelving instead of having actual cabinets because she really likes to have open shelving. But we did manage to get some closed storage over to the right side with those big cabinets. And in the show, the cabinets were it had sort of a mirrored, she called it a mercury finish on it, so that it was just this really beautiful old reflective patina, so that the cabinets you couldn't see straight in. You could, like, if you had kitchen mess that you just needed to have around, like everyone does, then you could sort of hide it back there, but it was still, nice and shiny and glass. And so that mercury finish I thought was very interesting. If I ever have the funds to be able to design my own kitchen, I would definitely go after it. So you guys should look that up and see it for yourselves. And then here I was tempted to cut out me messing with these stairs, but I feel like everyone can kind of commiserate with my troubles that I was having with the stairs, because although I adore the new L-shaped stairs mechanisms, I still haven't 100% figured out how to do it. And so kind of what you just have to do is zoom out, mess with the stairs outside of your house, and then come back in. And so this is the beginning of my roofing struggle. So it's a bit difficult to exactly match roofs from a real life reference with roofs in roofing in The Sims, and also especially with different floors and having a very steep pitched roof, but also a second floor, it's sort of hard to fit everything in. And so I'm doing it completely incorrectly here. And I'll definitely be messing with that second floor a lot, which deletes the stairs very often, and I won't notice. And so I'll put the stairs back on probably about 3 or 4 times, almost every time switching the texture of the stairs because I can't remember how it was before. And so the roof that I'm putting on right now, I definitely will be deleting and then replacing and then deleting. And at the end, I assure you, spoiler alert, but I'll get the stairs right eventually. So kind of ignore what I'm doing right now because I'm not, especially with that, what's going on in the back there, I will not be keeping that. So they didn't really mess with the backyard or patio or any sort of anything having to do with landscaping in this episode of Fixer Up in particular, so I kind of had to make up what the back and sides of the house look like because they really focused on the front and the interior. Same goes with the second floor. They didn't redo the second floor of the house, and so that again I just kind of made up, along with a couple of other rooms. Like I know that there was a laundry room in the house on the show because it was in Joanna's floor plan, but they didn't show it. And so it was kind of up to me to figure out what the laundry room would look like. And thankfully, all of the laundry things that came in the laundry day pack just so happened to be very farmhousey, and it really matches Joanna's style naturally. And so I just, used all of the normal laundry day stuff that I would in any other pack, and it did manage to match. And so over here on the side next to the dining set was actually a standing piano that was really aesthetically similar to this sort of craftsman upright desk that I'm putting right here. And so I don't have all the packs, and so I don't know if there is a standing piano somewhere. Or if it's just the sort of really big flat ones, but I didn't want to put a keyboard there. It seemed kind of silly, and so the desk was the closest approximation that I could get, and I'm just realizing that I didn't put a chair with the desk, so if you actually wanted to function, then just go ahead and throw a chair down there, but this dining area is getting a little bit cramped, and I feel like it would have fit a little bit better if I put it horizontal, sort of parallel with the fireplace, but Joanna had it perpendicular, and I feel like that would be straying from the inspiration a little too far to change the entire orientation of the dining room, so I was like, you know what, it's fine. Another thing that I'm going to struggle with in a second is that Joanna loves to set her tables. All of her dining room tables has these very intricate settings that she just leaves out. And I think in the Parenthood pack, it allows you to set tables, but you kind of have to do that in-game. And I was just messing around with build mode. I wasn't trying to import any households into this house just yet. And so I set the tables using not live edit objects, but the like show hidden objects sheet. I just typed in plates and cups and I quote set the table unquote, but it's not as intricate as Joanna's actual sort of table setting setups would be, but we tried. And then there are a couple of accessories throughout the house, like wall accessories, where I didn't have anything that approximated what they had in the show, and so I just sort of put up what was decent. And this black door right here in the show obviously, of course, was a sliding barn door, but I didn't really have the space for it. And also, there might be a sliding barn door somewhere in the game that I'm not aware of or that isn't in one of my packs, but I did not have access to a sliding barn door, so I just sort of used the French door that I put throughout the rest of the house. That carpet that they had was this really, really nice sort of purplish color, but I couldn't find a purple swatch in The Sims that just didn't scream purple. So I just switched it out for sort of a coolish brown color because it's purplish. And then in the show, they called this the office mudroom, and there wasn't a wall between the office and the laundry area, I don't think. But I just, put one in there. And so the office is a bit cramped, but it's definitely usable for a sim. And then right off of that, we've got a laundry room, and then there is a door that goes to nowhere. Like I said, because I didn't have a reference for the backyard, because they never really went into the backyard, I didn't feel like flexing my creative muscles because so much of this house was trying to be faithful to a reference. And so that back door just sort of goes down into the empty backyard that I didn't landscape. This house is available for download on the Sims Gallery. My name on the Sims Gallery is the same as it is here as my channel name, Eliza Build Stuff. So if you go there, you can download this house. I'm definitely planning on not necessarily making it a series, but doing more than one HGTV fixer-upper house where I basically just copy what Joanna did in the house. So any house that I can find that's got a really solid floor plan, isn't totally massive, because some of these houses are massive, and isn't too architecturally out there, then I will definitely be doing it in The Sims. So if you guys have a particularly favorite episode of Fixer Upper, then let me know in the comments, and I'll see if I can do it in The Sims. There's an episode that I would definitely be interested in doing. It might be a little bit too complicated for The Sims, but it's the one where they redo Jimmy Don's son's house. And by redo, they basically rip the entire house down. You can't even really call it a fixer-upper, because they tore the entire house like down to the studs and then built it back up. And so I'd call that an entirely new construction, but they left a little something up just so they could call it a quote fixer-upper unquote. But it was a really interesting house. It's definitely a tiny house. There's one bedroom, and it's a lofted bedroom, which is really cool. And so I would love to try to do that in The Sims. There's a lot of really nice open land around it, and then a cool sort of backyard patio situation that I'd love to do. And also, because it's a tiny house, you get to see more of it, so there's less sort of trying to make up parts of the house that you don't see. Because a lot of the time on HGTV, they say, we redid this entire house, but you don't actually see all the bathrooms, all the bedrooms. Like in this house, for example, you never see the second floor, so I just kind of, did something that was Joanna Gaines-ish. So it's just something that I thought that she and her team, because I'm never going to try and pretend that Joanna does it all by herself, might have done. One thing that I find really amusing is the scenes in the show when the construction is done, and so Joanna's like, "Well, it's gonna be a really long night for me, so I hope it doesn't take too long for me to decorate this entire house by myself." And I'm like, "Oh, honey, you have a team. You have a huge team of people that help you, but it would sort of break the illusion." I totally get that with TV, you can't always give credit where credit's due to everyone, and but Joanna's not sitting there all night decorating these houses completely by herself. She's got help. And so one thing in the floor plan in the master ensuite bathroom, there was a closet there, and so I decided that instead of doing a closed closet, which I love. I just recently, whatever pack these built-in closets come in, I absolutely love it. And I got it recently because I got one of those 3-pack bundles off of Origin, and then I typed in closets, and when I saw that there were actual built-in closets, I was so pumped, because it's something that the Sims was missing, because everyone's got these built-in closets. No one just has sort of a dresser armoire, but it made more sense with the space to have it be open shelving, and I figured it was a super fixer upper thing to do anyway because Joanna loves her open shelving with organizational baskets and jars of random stuff and you know visible towels. And also, I use these round mirrors all throughout the entire house. I want to say it comes in the Vampires pack. I'm not 100% sure. But they just really struck me as something that you would find sort of as an antique at a random antique store. And you'd be like, ooh, this is hideous. Let me give it a new, paint job and then hang it up in my fancy farmhouse bathroom. And so this is where I sort of figured out what I was doing with that roof, because I realized that the entire second floor didn't need to be in a big rectangle that just sort of hangs off of the back. I could just figure out how it works, and it was a bit hard to tell from the reference pictures how the second floor would work in this real house, but I knew that the stairs had to be where they had to be, and I couldn't move them because they were very specific about photographing the stairs on the write-up on the Magnolia website. And so I was like, okay, well, if the stairs have to be there, then how can I do this second floor so it's not weirdly jutting out the back? And the answer was to have one silly random dormer back there, just to allow the stairs to go up where they were, and then sort of conform the rest of it to the shape of the roof. And so once again, deleted those stairs by accident, put them back in a different color than last time. But because they really love the sort of wood and wrought iron look, and all of their railings are always just thin black iron on Fixer Upper, I decided to use the iron railing that comes in. I think it comes in the Get Famous pack. I use it all the time because when you look at it in the railing selector, it doesn't immediately look like something that you'd find anywhere because I think it's like black and gold, and you're like, ooh, I wouldn't use that in a house. But then once you make it all black, then it makes a little bit more sense. In the reference pictures for this house, the roof looked like a very, very light gray, but it actually wasn't. It was closer to a black. It's just that all the pictures were so overexposed that it ended up looking gray. And so if you look at the thumbnail for this video and you're like, that roof is a completely different color than how it ended up, I had to lighten it to make it look more similar to the original photograph of the outside of the house. But in this build, I decided to make it black just because it looked a little bit better, and I knew that the actual house was black. And so for the second floor, all of this was made up. None of this was actually in the episode or the reference pictures from that episode. I just figured that, a nice big sort of antique bathtub like that would work pretty well. And as you can see, so far, I've completely forgotten to put in, there we go, completely forgotten to put in a toilet, but I'm putting it in right now, in a separate toilet room, which is something that I feel very strongly about. I think that if you're going to have a big bathroom like this, especially if it's shared between multiple people, then there should always be a separate room for the toilet so that people can do their bathroom things that they like to do, like taking showers or putting on makeup, while leaving the person who needs to use the toilet alone. So I think hotels are figuring this out. This is the third video in a row where I've talked about how passionate I am about having a separate toilet room. And then something else that I'm fairly passionate about is putting carpets on carpets. So putting rugs in fully carpeted rooms. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I understand why it would seem weird, but if you watch enough HGTV, if you look at enough interior design type things, you'll see people doing it all the time. And if you do it tastefully enough, it doesn't look too weird. Like if you put a medium gray rug on a light gray carpet, it's fine. If you put a, bright red rug on a dark brown carpet, it might look a little weird. So just be tasteful about it, but also, do whatever you want. If you do go download this build, I decorated the side tables in one. So both of the guest rooms are identical, but there is clutter on the side table in one of them and then not in the other. So if you just copy paste, then you should have everything the same. And so in the reference pictures, there was a little bit of landscaping in the front of the house, and then there was a fence on the right side. And then on the left side, there was also I could see the suggestion of a garage, but obviously in The Sims 4, nobody needs a garage because no one has cars because it's not open world. So I just sort of ignored the jutting out garage on the left side of the house. And then on the right side, there was a fence, and I decided just to put some gardening stuff in there. So if you do download this house, there's plenty of room for gardening, or you can delete it and make a patio, or you can delete it and pretty much do anything you want with it. But for my purposes, I was kind of getting fed up with this build. It was getting towards the end of it, and I was just like, you know what, garden. I'm just going to throw down a bunch of garden stuff, put a nice little path and a nice little fence over there, and that does it. So that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what episodes that you'd like to see a build of, and I will see you guys next time.